we're gonna show you how to put in a fresh set of spark plugs. So let's dive right in and show you how. Generally on Audis, you want to replace your spark plugs every 30,000 miles or so, and you definitely want to go with the quality set as they are a super important part to your engine. So I went with Bosch Double Platinum, which are basically a direct OEM replacement. So I'll make it short and sweet. Let's show you how to put them in the engine the right way. Start it off by grabbing a T30 bit, come over to the top of your engine bay, and you're going to slap it on this bolt right here in between the middle two coil packs. And you want to remove that bolt so that you can remove the wiring harness from the coil packs. So the best way that I found to do this is by actually pushing the harness up into the coil pack so that you can press down on this clip and give it a slide. And then you're just gonna work back one by one until you get all four off, and then you slide it backwards. Once you successfully pop all four of those clips, you're just gonna slide your wiring harness back a little bit and keep it slid back as far as it'll sit back from the coil packs. And then you're gonna pop these out one by one. To get each of the coil packs out, you wanna grab either a little wedge or a little flathead of some sort. You're basically gonna pry up from the bottom and find a metal spot on the engine to use for leverage so that you don't break any plastic bits. And as you press down and pull up, you'll see it pop out, and then you'll slide back the wiring harness, give it a pull, and just like that, your coil pack is out. The back two are definitely a little harder since there's no good leverage points to rest on metal. So I found that if you kind of just stick your hand flat against the engine and use that and pull up as you press down your back fingers, you can get it to pop out no problem. When you pull out your coil pack, something worth checking is the bottom to see if there's any oil on them, which there's not. Also worth looking down the cylinder tubes. There might be a little gunk, but as long as you don't see any clear signs of oil, that means your valve cover isn't leaking oil. Grab your 5/8 inch spark plug socket, come over to the top of the engine, slap it down in there with a hefty extension, and just twist and pull them out one by one. Pop your new spark plugs in your socket, drop them down by hand initially on the extension, and thread them by hand to make sure that you're not cross-threading them inside your engine. Because if you hit it immediately with the wrench, you could possibly run into the issue of cross-threading them. So thread it all the way down by hand, get it as tight as you physically can by hand, pull out your socket, work your way through all four tubes, and then we're gonna come back and torque them down to spec. Special guest Chris, thinking she might screw up my car. She's doing just fine though, screwing in the last spark plug for me. Grab your torque wrench, set it to 28 Newton meters specifically. You're gonna wanna go slow and controlled to make sure that you get a proper torque reading, because if you do go too fast and jerky, you'll get an inaccurate torque reading, and then you have the possibility of stripping out your spark plugs and ruining your engine. There you go. That was the click. Pull it, do all four of those, and then we're ready to put everything back together and hit the road for a test drive. Now one by one, we're gonna reinstall our coil packs. You're just gonna pull back the wiring harness a little bit, press them down, and then if you really press on it a little bit with your palm, you'll feel it suction into the top of the engine, and then you can even pull on it a little bit, make sure it's snug. But that's how you know all those are ready. Once you get to that step, like I showed you before, just plug your wiring harness back in, make sure each of these clicks actually clicks back into place. That's how you know they're locked and ready to go. Install your T30 bolt, and then we're going to start up the engine, take it for a test drive, and make sure that we're not throwing any misfires. And we got to make sure that Chris didn't screw it up because she's eating sushi. I'm working on my car. If any cylinders can be misfiring, it's going to be cylinder 3. Once you have all four of them back in, press them down with a little extra oomph. Make sure that they're all properly seated on top of the spark plugs to ensure that your coil packs are making a good connection. Then, like I said before, one by one, throw your clips back in for the wiring harness, and that bolt is the last step. Last but not least, hit the road and take it for a test drive. And as long as you have no misfires, no check engine lights, or anything of that sort, you should be good to go. Drop a comment below when the last time you changed your spark plugs was, and if you need to change them. Make sure to subscribe, drop a like, and I'll see you next time as we build the Audi, maintain it, and hopefully make it last as long as some Hondas. Odds are probably not. Peace.